You don't belong here! Security! VP Marcus Sterling screams at the black woman emptying his trash. She smiles quietly, pulls out her phone, speed dials. Board meeting, now. Marcus Sterling storms into his corner office on this rain-soaked Monday morning, his Armani suit crisp despite the Seattle drizzle. His quarterly projections are hemorrhaging red ink, and his patience evaporated somewhere between the parking garage and the 42nd floor. He freezes. An unfamiliar black woman, mid-30s, empties his wastebasket. Business casual attire, professional demeanor. She moves with quiet efficiency. "Excuse me." His voice cuts sharp. "What are you doing here?" She straightens, meeting his gaze calmly. "Good morning, I was just... Cleaning isn't supposed to happen during business hours." He steps closer, territorial. "Don't you people know the protocols?" The woman pauses, studying his face. Something flickers behind her eyes. Not fear, but calculation. "I understand your concern, but..." "No buts. People like you need to know your place in this building." Marcus pulls out his phone. "I'm calling security." Her composure remains unshakable. She watches him dial, then reaches into her purse with deliberate calm. "What would you do if someone treated you like this at your own company? Drop your country flag below." She pulls out something that makes Marcus's face drain completely white. 30 minutes earlier, Amara Thompson's Tesla Model S glides into the executive parking garage of TechVault Solutions. At 38, she built this Fortune 500 tech empire from her Stanford dorm room, but today she's dressed down. Dark jeans, navy blazer, minimal makeup. Intentionally unremarkable. The security guard's eyebrows lift as she approaches. "Morning, Ms. Thompson. Didn't expect you today." "Surprise inspection, David. How's the family?" "Good, good. You look..." He searches for words. "Different." She smiles. "That's the point." The private elevator whisks her to the 42nd floor. Her assistant's desk sits empty. Sick day. Perfect. Amara decides to walk the floors, see what really happens when the CEO isn't watching. The break room reveals its secrets quickly. 2 junior developers huddle over coffee. "Another diversity hire in marketing," one mutters. "Third this quarter." "At least they're trying to hit their quotas," the other responds. Amara's jaw tightens. She continues her rounds. In the facilities closet, she encounters Miguel, the head maintenance worker. His weathered face brightens. "Ms. Thompson, you're here early." "Miguel, tell me honestly, how do executives treat your staff?" His smile fades. "Most are respectful, but some..." He glances around nervously. "Some act like we're invisible, or worse." "Worse how?" "The new VP, Sterling. He's particular about who he wants cleaning his office. Says some of us don't represent the company image properly." Heat builds in Amara's chest. "Which of your team does he prefer?" "Only sends the white cleaning staff to executive floors. Says the others make clients uncomfortable." Amara nods slowly, filing this information. "Thank you for telling me." She walks the executive wing, observing. Corner offices gleam with floor-to-ceiling windows. The hallway artwork costs more than most people's annual salaries. Everything pristine, powerful, intimidating. But something feels wrong. The energy. The way conversations halt when she passes. The subtle segregation she's noticing. Minorities clustered in support roles, executive positions overwhelmingly uniform. She built this company on principles of innovation and inclusion. Somewhere along the way, those values got corrupted. Marcus Sterling joined 2 years ago during rapid expansion. Harvard MBA, Sterling recommendations, impressive portfolio. But whispers followed him. Whispers about his high standards and particular requirements. Amara reaches his office suite. Through the glass, she sees him on a heated phone call, gesturing aggressively. His quarterly numbers are down 15%. Pressure makes people reveal their true character. She spots the wastebasket overflowing with crumpled reports. Miguel's team usually handles this, but they're short-staffed today. Perfect opportunity. As she enters with the cleaning supplies, Marcus's voice rises behind his closed door. Marcus Sterling slams his phone down, ending another disastrous call with their biggest client. Revenue projections look like a crime scene. His career hangs by threads thinner than his patience. The door opens. A black woman enters, carrying cleaning supplies. He's never seen her before. Mid-30s, professional bearing, moving with quiet confidence. Wrong time, wrong place, wrong everything. "What are you doing here?" His voice carries the edge of a man already pushed too far. She turns, meeting his stare without flinching. "Good morning. I'm just emptying the waste." "Cleaning happens after hours. Don't you people follow basic protocols?" The woman pauses, something shifting in her expression. Not submission, evaluation. "I understand your preference, but the bins were quite full and—" "I don't want excuses." Marcus steps closer, using his height advantage. "I want competence. People like you need to understand professional boundaries." She tilts her head slightly. "People like me? Don't play games, you know what I mean." His frustration bleeds into cruelty. "This is an executive floor. We maintain certain standards here." "What standards would those be?" Her calm unsettles him. Cleaning staff should apologize, defer, disappear. Instead, she asks questions like she belongs here. Standards of excellence, professionalism, things that obviously weren't covered in your orientation. He gestures dismissively at her casual attire. "This isn't some community center. We represent serious money to serious people." Through the glass walls, other employees slow their pace. A few hold phones, recording discreetly. Marcus notices the audience and feels energized. Time to demonstrate leadership. "Look, I'm sure you're trying your best," he continues, voice dripping condescension. "But effort isn't enough in this environment. We need people who understand corporate culture, who can interact appropriately with clients and executives." She nods thoughtfully. "And you believe I lack that understanding?" "I believe you're in the wrong place at the wrong time wearing the wrong attitude." Sarah Chen, a senior analyst, approaches the office. She recognizes Amara immediately and starts forward, but Amara catches her eye and subtly shakes her head. "Wait. Watch." Marcus interprets Sarah's hesitation as respect for his authority. His confidence swells. "Here's how this works," he tells Amara. "You finish up quickly and quietly. Next time, follow proper scheduling and dress appropriately. This isn't casual Friday." "I see." Amara's voice remains perfectly level. "And if I don't meet these expectations? Then you'll find yourself looking for work elsewhere. I have contacts throughout this industry. Word travels fast about people who don't fit." The threat hangs in the air like smoke. Around them, the gathered employees shift uncomfortably. Some look away, unwilling to witness what feels increasingly ugly. But Amara doesn't break, doesn't bend. She simply nods and returns to emptying his wastebasket. Marcus watches her work, satisfied with his dominance display. He's shown these people how authority functions in his domain. Amara's phone buzzes with a text that makes her smile coldly. Marcus Sterling feeds off the growing audience. Power requires performance, and he's found his stage. "Actually, don't just empty that." He points to his conference table, stained with coffee rings from this morning's crisis meeting. "Clean it properly. I need to see real effort here." Amara sets down her supplies without protest. She retrieves cleaning spray and paper towels, moving with methodical precision. Around them, more employees gather. Phones emerge, recording discreetly. "Slower," Marcus commands. "Do it right the first time. This table hosts million-dollar negotiations." She complies, wiping each section carefully. Marcus positions himself where everyone can see his authority in action. "You see," he addresses the crowd, "this is about standards, excellence. When you accept mediocrity, mediocrity becomes your culture." Jennifer Walsh, a junior marketing coordinator, whispers to her colleague, "This feels wrong." "Shut up," her colleague hisses back. Sterling's got connections. Don't make yourself a target. Marcus overhears and smiles. Fear breeds respect. Jennifer raises an interesting point about workplace dynamics. Sometimes tough love is necessary to maintain professional boundaries. He turns back to Amara. Now the windows. They're streaked. The floor-to-ceiling glass overlooks downtown Seattle. Amara approaches with cleaning solution, spraying and wiping in long, even strokes. Marcus follows, critiquing her technique. Miss a spot there, and there. Do you even know how to clean glass professionally? I'm learning, Amara replies evenly. Learning? Marcus laughs, playing to his audience. This isn't job training. This is basic competency. Didn't anyone teach you proper work ethic? The comment hits like a slap. Several employees wince. David Kim, a senior developer, starts to step forward, but his manager grabs his arm. Think about your career, the manager whispers. Marcus notices the intervention and feels emboldened. Exactly right. Everyone here understands professional hierarchy. Some people adapt to corporate culture, others... He shrugs meaningfully. Amara continues cleaning, her movements steady and deliberate. But something shifts in her posture. Not submission, but preparation. You know what bothers me most? Marcus continues, warming to his theme. The entitlement. Walking into executive spaces like you belong here, like you've earned access to this level. And how does one earn that access? Amara asks without turning around. Education, achievement, proving your value through results, not quotas or sympathy points. The insult cuts deep. Around them, the minority employees exchange painful glances. They've heard these coded words before, the suggestion that their presence stems from charity rather than merit. I see, Amara says. So you believe my presence here results from sympathy? I believe in calling things what they are. Some people build their way up through talent and hard work. Others take shortcuts. He's enjoying himself now, drunk on dominance. The audience gives him power, and power reveals character. Tell me about your education, he continues. Your background, your qualifications for working in a facility like this. Amara turns to face him, something dangerous flickering in her eyes. My qualifications? Basic curiosity. I like to understand who's handling my work environment. She sets down the cleaning supplies slowly, very slowly. My qualifications are quite extensive. I'm sure they are. His tone drips with sarcasm. Let me guess, community college? Some kind of certification program? The gathered employees hold their breath. Even Marcus's supporters sense he's crossed a line, but momentum carries him forward. Actually, Amara says, her voice dropping to a quieter register, I graduated summa cum laude from Stanford, computer science, then earned my MBA from Wharton. Marcus blinks, momentarily thrown. Then he recovers, laughing dismissively. Right, and I'm sure you have extensive corporate experience too. 15 years building technology companies from the ground up. The confidence in her voice stops his laughter cold. Something's wrong here. Cleaning staff don't speak with this kind of authority, don't carry themselves with this kind of presence. But pride won't let him retreat. Impressive resume, he sneers. Too bad none of it prepared you for actual professional environments. Amara pulls out her phone and speed dials a number Marcus recognizes. Excuse me, Amara says, her voice carrying new steel. I need to make a call. She steps away from Marcus's office, walking with purpose toward the empty conference room at the end of the hall. Behind her, Marcus addresses his audience with renewed confidence. See how they deflect when confronted with reality? Can't handle direct feedback. But something nags at him, her composure, her vocabulary, the way she moved through his space like she owned it. In the conference room, Amara closes the door and dials. Richard, it's me. I need an emergency board meeting. 1 hour. Richard Chen, her chief legal officer, sounds alarmed. What's happened? Systematic discrimination, hostile work environment, complete violation of everything we built this company on. Her voice remains calm, but fury burns underneath. And I just experienced it firsthand. Jesus. How bad? Career-ending bad. For him, not us. Get Patricia on the line. I need termination paperwork prepared, and call security. I want this handled by the book. She hangs up and immediately dials her assistant's backup. Monica, I need Marcus Sterling's complete personnel file. Everything. HR complaints, performance reviews, all of it. Email it to me in 10 minutes. Third call. Patricia, it's Amara. I need you in the building now. Bring the employee handbook and our discrimination policies. Yes, the ones I personally wrote. She pauses, staring out the conference room window at the city she's helped build. TechVault Solutions employs 12,000 people. She created this company to be different, inclusive, innovative, respectful. Somewhere along the way, she lost sight of the day-to-day reality. Not anymore. Her phone buzzes with Marcus's file. She scrolls through it, her expression growing darker with each page. 3 complaints from minority employees in his department. 2 reports of inappropriate comments during performance reviews. 1 formal grievance filed 6 months ago, dismissed by his direct supervisor as personality conflict. Her fury crystallizes into something harder, determination. She calls her head of security. James, it's Amara. I need you to preserve all security footage from the executive floor, last 2 hours. Also, I understand some employees recorded an incident. I need those files secured as evidence. Ma'am? Is everything... Everything's about to be very different around here. Stand by for further instructions. One final call to her corporate attorney. David, it's Amara Thompson. I need to verify something. If an executive creates a hostile work environment through discriminatory behavior witnessed by multiple employees with recorded evidence, what's our liability exposure? Significant. But if you handle it swiftly and decisively, you demonstrate good faith corporate responsibility. Good, because I'm about to handle it very swiftly and very decisively. She hangs up and checks her watch. 45 minutes until the board arrives. Time to gather more evidence. Returning to the hallway, she spots Miguel organizing his cleaning cart. She approaches quietly. Miguel, I need you to tell me everything about Sterling's treatment of your team. Everything. His eyes dart around nervously. Ms. Thompson, I don't want trouble. The only trouble is what's already happening. I'm going to fix this, but I need facts. Miguel's shoulders straighten. For 10 minutes, he details a pattern of discrimination that makes Amara's blood boil. Racial slurs disguised as jokes. Deliberate scheduling to keep minority workers away from important clients. Comments about appropriate representation and company image. Why didn't anyone report this? We tried. HR said it was hearsay without witnesses, but executives don't usually act that way in front of other executives. Amara nods grimly. They do now. She walks back toward Marcus's office, where he's still holding court. Through the glass, she sees him gesturing expansively, clearly enjoying his perceived victory. Time to change that perception permanently. As she approaches his office, 3 familiar figures step off the executive elevator. Marcus Sterling rides high on adrenaline and applause. The crowd around his office has grown, and he's found his rhythm as the star of his own power display. Leadership isn't about being liked, he tells his audience. It's about maintaining standards. Some people understand that naturally. Others need guidance. He glances toward the conference room where Amara disappeared. Take our friend there, probably calling her supervisor to complain about unfair treatment. That's the problem with people who haven't earned their position. They blame everyone except themselves. Several employees shift uncomfortably, but Marcus interprets their unease as respect for his authority. I've worked in Fortune 500 companies across 3 continents, he continues. Excellence has a look, a feel, a standard. You either meet it or you don't. Jennifer Walsh, the marketing coordinator, finds her courage. Maybe we should just let her do her job. Marcus turns toward her with laser focus. Jennifer, right? How long have you been with the company? 8 months? 8 months. I've been building corporate culture for 15 years. Trust me when I say that small compromises lead to big problems. The implicit threat silences Jennifer. Around them, other junior employees take note. Challenge Marcus Sterling. Face consequences. Besides, Marcus adds, warming to his theme, this isn't personal. It's professional. Some people fit corporate environments, others are better suited for different opportunities. Through the glass walls, he spots building security approaching. Perfect timing. Here we go. Professional resolution. But the security guard, David from the lobby, looks confused rather than authoritative. He recognizes Amara, knows exactly who she is, but can't understand why she's in this situation. Mr. Sterling? David's voice carries uncertainty. You called about a security issue? That's right. We have someone in the executive area who doesn't belong here. She was disruptive. David glances around, clearly uncomfortable. Sir, I'm not sure I understand the situation. It's simple. Cleaning staff shouldn't be in executive offices during business hours. When I corrected the behavior, she became argumentative, unprofessional. The gathered employees watch this exchange with growing tension. Some sense something's wrong but can't identify what. Others enjoy the spectacle. Where is this person now? David asks. Conference room. Probably calling her union rep or some such nonsense. David nods slowly, but his expression remains troubled. He's worked this building for 5 years. He knows the protocols, knows the people, knows when something doesn't add up. Marcus misinterprets his hesitation as thorough professionalism. I appreciate you taking this seriously, David. Too many companies let these situations slide. Yes, sir. I'll handle it appropriately. Good man. This is why we need security who understand corporate priorities. As David walks toward the conference room, Marcus returns to his audience. See how proper channels work? No drama, no complications, just professional standards professionally enforced. But David doesn't enter the conference room. Instead, he pulls out his radio and speaks quietly, his back to Marcus. This is David at the front desk. I need to confirm something with management. Yes, it's urgent. Marcus can't hear the conversation, but he sees David's body language change. The security guard straightens, speaks more rapidly, glances back toward the office with new understanding. Sarah Chen, the senior analyst who recognized Amara earlier, finally steps forward. Marcus, I think you should know. Sarah, please, I've got this handled. But she's gone, which solves the problem. Sometimes leadership means making tough decisions quickly. Sarah stares at him in disbelief. You have no idea what you've just done. I've maintained professional standards in a professional environment. That's exactly what I was hired to do. Just as Marcus finishes speaking, the elevator opens and 3 board members step out. 3 distinguished figures emerge from the executive elevator. Patricia Williams, Chief Human Resources Officer, Richard Chen, Chief Legal Officer, and Dr. Margaret Foster, Board Chair. Their faces carry the gravity of people summoned for crisis management. Marcus Sterling's demeanor transforms instantly. Gone is the theatrical bully. In his place stands a polished executive, back straight, smile professional. Patricia, Richard, Dr. Foster, what brings you to the floor today? Patricia exchanges glances with Richard. We received a call about a situation requiring immediate attention. Ah. Marcus nods knowingly. You're here about the security incident. I handled it efficiently. Proper channels, no escalation. The disruptive individual has been removed from the executive area. Dr. Foster, a woman whose steel gray hair and penetrating gaze have intimidated CEOs across 3 decades, steps closer. Tell us about this incident. Marcus straightens, sensing opportunity. 3 C-level executives witnessing his leadership in action? Perfect career advancement material. A cleaning person entered my office during business hours, completely against protocol. When I corrected the behavior professionally, she became argumentative and disrespectful. Disrespectful how? Richard asks, his lawyer's training evident in the precision of his question. Questioning my authority, making claims about qualifications she clearly doesn't possess, disrupting the work environment. Marcus gestures to the lingering crowd. As you can see, it created quite a scene. Patricia takes notes, her expression unreadable. What specific claims did she make? Said she had degrees from Stanford and Wharton, claimed 15 years of corporate experience. Marcus laughs dismissively. Obvious fabrication to avoid accountability. The three executives exchange meaningful looks that Marcus completely misses. And how did you respond to these fabrications? Dr. Foster asks. Professionally but firmly. I explained our standards, our expectations, our company culture. Sometimes people need clear guidance about appropriate workplace behavior. Could you be more specific about this guidance? Richard's pen hovers over his notepad. Marcus feels confident now, playing to an audience of peers. I explained that excellence has standards, that people need to understand their role in maintaining corporate image, that some individuals are better suited for certain environments than others. Patricia's pen stops moving. Certain environments? You know what I mean. Cultural fit, professional presentation. The intangibles that separate good companies from great ones. The words hang in the air like toxic gas. Around them, employees look increasingly uncomfortable. Even Marcus's supporters sense something shifting. Mr. Sterling, Dr. Foster says slowly, did you verify this person's identity before providing guidance? I didn't need to. The situation was obvious. Someone in the wrong place at the wrong time, with the wrong attitude. The wrong attitude about what? About hierarchy. About knowing your place in a professional organization. About understanding that access to executive areas is earned, not assumed. Richard and Patricia exchange another glance. Marcus interprets their attention as admiration for his decisive leadership. I appreciate you coming up to observe the situation firsthand, Marcus continues. Too often, management doesn't see how these small incidents can impact company culture. But when you maintain standards consistently... Mr. Sterling, Dr. Foster interrupts. Where is this person now? Conference room. Probably calling her supervisor to complain about proper workplace correction. I see. And you're confident in your handling of this situation? Absolutely. Quick, professional, decisive. Exactly the kind of leadership this company needs. Dr. Foster nods slowly. Thank you for that assessment. She turns to Patricia. I think we have enough information. Please ask Ms. Thompson to join us. Marcus blinks. Ms. Thompson? The woman you've been educating about company standards. Something cold crawls up Marcus's spine. The way Dr. Foster said the name, the formality, the respect. I'm sorry, who exactly? The person you deemed unfit for executive areas, Richard says quietly. Marcus's face drains of color as he begins to understand what's happening. Marcus Sterling's confident facade cracks like ice under pressure. The board members' formal tone, their careful questions, the way they said her name, everything points toward a reality he refuses to accept. I'm sorry, he stammers, but who exactly is Ms. Thompson? Patricia Williams steps forward, her HR training evident in her measured response. The individual you've spent the last hour humiliating in front of your colleagues. Humiliating? That's completely unfair. I was maintaining professional standards. By questioning her education, Richard Chen's voice carries prosecutorial precision. By suggesting she doesn't belong in corporate environments? Marcus looks around desperately. The crowd that once gave him power now feels like a jury. I was enforcing company policy. Cleaning staff shouldn't be in executive offices during business hours. And if she wasn't cleaning staff? Dr. Foster asks quietly. The question hits like a physical blow. Marcus's mouth opens, closes, opens again. What do you mean, if? Did you ask her name? No, but did you inquire about her role in the company? The situation was obvious. Did you verify anything before making assumptions about her position, her qualifications, her right to be here? Silence stretches like a chasm. Around them, employees hold their breath. Even Marcus's supporters begin backing away, sensing the magnitude of what's unfolding. She was cleaning, Marcus whispers, his voice hollow. She had supplies. She was emptying trash. So you assumed, Patricia says, making another note. I observed, Marcus corrects desperately. Professional observation based on context clues. Context clues. Dr. Foster repeats the phrase like it tastes bitter. What context clues led you to conclude she was unqualified for corporate environments? Marcus realizes he's standing in a minefield where every word could detonate his career. Her demeanor. Her presence in the space during business hours. Her demeanor. Casual dress, informal approach, not the typical executive presentation. Richard leans forward. And what does typical executive presentation look like, Mr. Sterling? The trap closes around him. Every possible answer reveals his prejudices more clearly. Professional attire, polished manner, the kind of presence that commands respect. I see. And this woman lacked these qualities? She was dressed down, casual, not appropriate for what? For executive interaction, for representing the company to clients. Patricia's pen moves rapidly across her notepad. So you determined her fitness for corporate environments based on her clothing? Among other factors, such as? Marcus feels sweat beading on his forehead. Her approach to feedback, her resistance to guidance, her claims about qualifications. The qualifications you dismissed as impossible? Stanford and Wharton? 15 years of corporate experience? Come on, you could tell just by looking. He stops mid-sentence, realizing what he's revealed. You could tell by looking, Dr. Foster repeats slowly. Tell us what you saw when you looked at her. The conference room door opens. Amara Thompson emerges, walking with the quiet confidence of someone who built empires from nothing. She approaches the group with measured steps. Marcus stares at her, his brain struggling to process the impossible. Same woman, same face. But now the board members address her with unmistakable deference. Ms. Thompson, Dr. Foster says formally, thank you for joining us. Mr. Sterling was just explaining his assessment of your qualifications. Amara's gaze settles on Marcus with laser intensity. Were you indeed? I don't understand what's happening here. Amara pulls out her business card, extends it toward him with deliberate slowness. Perhaps this will clarify the situation. Marcus takes the card with trembling fingers, reads it once, twice, 3 times. Amara Thompson, Chief Executive Officer, TechVault Solutions. The words blur together. His world tilts sideways. That's impossible, he whispers. Is it? Amara's voice carries the quiet authority of absolute power. Tell me, Mr. Sterling, based on your professional observation and context clues, what makes it impossible? Marcus opens his mouth to respond, but no words come out. Silence crashes over the executive floor like a tsunami. Marcus Sterling stares at the business card in his trembling hands, his world reshaping itself around an impossible truth. Amara Thompson, Chief Executive Officer, TechVault Solutions. The woman he humiliated, degraded, and dismissed as unqualified runs the entire company. Built it from nothing. Employs 12,000 people, including him. This can't be real, he whispers. Amara steps closer, her presence filling the space with quiet authority. Mr. Sterling, I'm Amara Thompson. I founded this company 15 years ago in my Stanford dorm room. I coded the first product myself. I secured our initial funding, built our corporate culture, established our values. Her voice carries the weight of absolute certainty. I graduated summa cum laude from Stanford with a degree in computer science. I earned my MBA from Wharton while running a tech startup that I sold for $40 million. That startup became the foundation for TechVault Solutions. Marcus's legs feel weak. The crowd around them grows silent, recording everything. I've built this company on principles of innovation, excellence, and inclusion. Every hiring decision, every policy, every value statement comes from my vision of what corporate America could become. She pauses, letting the magnitude sink in. Today, I decided to walk my own floors to see if those values survived our rapid growth. I dressed casually because I wanted honest interactions, not performative deference. Patricia Williams steps forward. Ms. Thompson experienced your behavior firsthand, Mr. Sterling. Every word, every assumption, every discriminatory statement. Richard Chen opens his tablet. We have security footage, employee recordings, and witness statements. Your conduct created a textbook hostile work environment. Dr. Foster's voice cuts like a scalpel. You questioned the CEO's education, dismissed her qualifications, and suggested she didn't belong in corporate environments. Based on what criteria? Marcus tries to speak, but coherent thought eludes him. I didn't know. I couldn't have known. Known what? Amara asks. That I was the CEO, or that I deserved basic human respect regardless of my position? The question hangs in the air like a blade. You didn't know my title, so you felt entitled to degrade me. You saw a black woman and made instant assumptions about my intelligence, my education, my worth. Marcus attempts damage control. That's not... I would never... I'm not racist. I have diverse friends, diverse colleagues. Stop. Amara's command silences him instantly. I heard every word you said, about people like me, about knowing my place, about cultural fit and professional presentation. She addresses the gathered crowd. Everyone here witnessed systematic discrimination, not subtle bias, overt, deliberate prejudice designed to humiliate and exclude. Patricia opens her file. Mr. Sterling, your personnel record shows a pattern. 3 formal complaints from minority employees in your department. 2 reports of inappropriate comments during performance reviews. Multiple instances of discriminatory scheduling and assignment practices. We investigated each complaint, Richard adds. Previous management dismissed them as personality conflicts or communication issues, but patterns reveal truth. Marcus feels the walls closing in. Those complaints were misunderstandings, workplace friction, nothing more. Miguel Torres, head of facilities, documented 18 separate incidents of discriminatory behavior, Amara continues. Racial slurs disguised as jokes, deliberate exclusion of minority workers from high-visibility assignments, comments about appropriate representation for client meetings. Have you ever witnessed workplace discrimination? Share your story in the comments. Dr. Foster steps forward. Mr. Sterling, your behavior today violated multiple company policies, federal employment laws, and basic human decency. You created a hostile work environment while the CEO of the company watched. Marcus realizes his career is over. Everything he built, every connection he made, every achievement he accumulated, destroyed by 1 hour of revealed character. Please, he whispers. This is a misunderstanding. I can explain. Explain what? Amara's voice remains steady, implacable. Explain why you assumed a black woman couldn't belong in executive spaces? Explain why you questioned credentials you deemed impossible for someone like me? She pulls out her phone, scrolls through messages. I've received texts from 17 employees in the last hour. Similar experiences. Same pattern of discrimination. Same excuses dismissed by management. Marcus sees his reflection in the conference room glass. A man who thought he held power, discovering he never understood what power meant. Your termination is effective immediately, Amara announces. Security will escort you from the building. Your access cards, company property, and parking privileges are revoked. Your final paycheck will be processed according to legal requirements. You can't do this, Marcus protests weakly. I have contracts, agreements, which are voided by discriminatory conduct, Richard responds. Your behavior constitutes grounds for immediate termination under both company policy and employment law. Amara turns to address the entire floor. This company was built on values of respect, inclusion, and excellence. Today proved we've lost sight of those values. That changes now. Marcus makes one final desperate attempt. I'll sue. Wrongful termination. Discrimination against... Against what, Doctor? Foster interrupts. Against executives who create hostile work environments? Good luck finding representation. Security arrives. David from the lobby, joined by 2 additional guards. They approach Marcus with professional courtesy but unmistakable authority. Mr. Sterling, David says quietly, please come with us. As Marcus is escorted toward the elevator, he turns back toward Amara. This isn't over. Yes, she replies calmly. It is. The elevator doors close on Marcus's career as Amara turns to address her company's future. Within hours, TechVault Solutions transforms into a precision legal machine. Richard Chen's team documents every aspect of Marcus Sterling's discriminatory behavior, while Patricia Williams implements immediate policy changes. Complete audit of all departments. Amara instructs her leadership team in the emergency board meeting. I want to know how deep this culture problem goes. The conference room buzzes with controlled urgency. External counsel joins by video conference while HR prepares comprehensive documentation. Legally, we're in strong position, Richard reports. Marcus's behavior was witnessed, recorded, and well documented. His personnel file shows clear patterns of discrimination that previous management failed to address. Dr. Foster reviews the security footage on her tablet. This is damning. He explicitly questioned her qualifications based on appearance, made statements about people like her, and suggested she didn't belong in corporate environments. Meanwhile, across town, Marcus sits in an employment attorney's office, desperate for legal recourse. Wrongful termination, he insists. They set me up. Discrimination against white executives. Reverse racism. Attorney James Rodriguez reviews the evidence with growing skepticism. Mr. Sterling, I have video footage of you telling the CEO of the company that people like her need to know their place. What exactly was reverse about that racism? I didn't know she was the CEO. If I had known, you would have treated her with respect? Rodriguez interrupts. So your respect depends on someone's title, not their humanity? Marcus realizes his legal position is hopeless. 3 more attorneys decline representation after reviewing the evidence. Back at TechVault, the story spreads through Seattle's tech community like wildfire. Local business publications pick up the story within hours. TechVault CEO experiences discrimination firsthand, takes immediate action, reads the Seattle Business Journal headline. The company's stock price initially dips on uncertainty, then rises as investors recognize the proactive response. Corporate clients issue statements supporting TechVault's values-driven leadership. We stand behind companies that demonstrate authentic commitment to inclusion, announces their largest client in a public statement. Patricia Williams leads the internal investigation, interviewing Marcus's former subordinates. The stories pour out. Years of suppressed experiences finally finding voice. He told me my promotion was delayed because clients weren't ready for diverse leadership, reports senior developer Priya Patel. I assumed he was protecting me. He scheduled me away from client meetings, saying my accent might confuse important visitors, adds software architect Carlos Martinez. The pattern becomes undeniable. Marcus systematically excluded minority employees from high-visibility opportunities while maintaining plausible deniability. Amara reviews each report personally, her anger crystallizing into determination. We failed these people. I failed them by being too removed from day-to-day operations. The legal team prepares for potential litigation. Marcus's desperate attorney files a discrimination claim with the EEOC. alleging reverse racism and wrongful termination. Frivolous, Richard Chen tells the press. Mr. Sterling was terminated for creating a hostile work environment, not for his race or gender. We have extensive documentation of discriminatory behavior spanning 2 years. The EEOC investigation lasts 3 weeks. Federal investigators interview employees, review footage, and examine company policies. Their finding: Marcus's termination was justified and necessary. TechVault demonstrated exemplary corporate responsibility. The EEOC report concludes, swift action to address discrimination protects all employees and serves the public interest. Marcus's unemployment benefits claim faces similar scrutiny. The hearing officer reviews video evidence of his behavior, witness testimony, and documented policy violations. Benefits denied, the decision reads. Termination resulted from workplace misconduct that violated company policy and federal employment law. His severance package evaporates due to breach of conduct clauses. Health insurance expires. Professional references become impossible to secure. I can't recommend him, his former mentor tells a potential employer. His judgment and character proved problematic. TechVault implements sweeping changes. External diversity consultants conduct company-wide culture audits. Anonymous reporting systems give employees safe channels for raising concerns. Zero tolerance means zero tolerance, Amara announces in an all-hands meeting. Discrimination, harassment, or hostile behavior results in immediate termination, regardless of position or performance. The company establishes an Inclusion Excellence Award, recognizing employees who demonstrate exceptional commitment to diversity and respect. Miguel Torres receives the first award for his courage in reporting Marcus's behavior. You gave voice to people who felt voiceless, Amara tells him during the presentation. That's real leadership. Employee morale skyrockets. Previously marginalized workers feel empowered to contribute ideas and seek advancement. Innovation metrics improve as diverse perspectives strengthen the company's competitive edge. Inclusion isn't just morally right, Amara tells the Harvard Business Review. It's strategically essential. Homogeneous thinking produces mediocre results. Marcus's attempts to rebuild his career fail repeatedly. Background checks reveal his termination for discrimination. Professional networks distance themselves from the controversy. His LinkedIn profile becomes a liability rather than an asset. 6 months later, he sits in a job placement center, forced to consider positions far below his previous status. The counselor reviews his options grimly. Executive positions are unlikely given your background. Have you considered career transition to a different industry? His marriage deteriorates under financial and social stress. Friends stop returning calls. Country club membership becomes unaffordable. The house goes on the market. I was protecting company standards, he tells his therapist. How did that become discrimination? What standards were you protecting? The therapist asks. And from whom? The question haunts him. In quiet moments, he begins recognizing the prejudices that guided his actions, the assumptions that seemed natural, professional, appropriate. But recognition comes too late. His reputation is destroyed, his career ended, his credibility evaporated. TechVault, meanwhile, thrives under renewed commitment to inclusion. Diverse hiring increases by 300%. Employee satisfaction reaches industry-leading levels. The company wins multiple awards for workplace excellence and social responsibility. Crisis can catalyze transformation, Amara reflects. Marcus Sterling inadvertently gave us the gift of clarity about our values and priorities. 1 year later, Marcus receives a certified letter that changes everything again. The certified letter arrives on a gray Tuesday morning, delivered to Marcus Sterling's cramped studio apartment in Tacoma, a far cry from his former Bellevue penthouse. Notice of deposition: Thompson versus Sterling et al. TechVault's legal team has filed a comprehensive lawsuit seeking damages for the hostile work environment Marcus created. The company demands compensation for legal costs, employee retention programs, and reputation management. Marcus stares at the documents with hollow eyes. His unemployment ran out months ago. His savings evaporated paying legal fees for cases he couldn't win. The Ferrari was repossessed. The Rolex sold on eBay. Mr. Sterling, his court-appointed attorney explains, they're seeking $2 million in damages. They have extensive documentation, video evidence, and witness testimony. $2 million? Marcus's voice cracks. I don't have 2,000. That's the point. This isn't about money, it's about accountability. The deposition takes place in a sterile conference room at Richards & Associates. Marcus sits across from Amara Thompson, whose quiet presence fills the space with undeniable authority. State your full name for the record, the court reporter instructs. Marcus James Sterling. His voice barely rises above a whisper. Richard Chen, representing TechVault, begins methodically. Mr. Sterling, do you recall the events of March 15th at TechVault Solutions? Yes. Please describe your interaction with Ms. Thompson. Marcus squirms in his chair. The video evidence plays on a monitor, showing every discriminatory word, every prejudiced assumption. Watching himself feels like witnessing a stranger's moral collapse. I made some mistakes. What kind of mistakes? I assumed things. Made judgments without proper information. Based on what factors did you make these assumptions? The question hangs like a noose. Every possible answer reveals his prejudices more clearly. Her appearance. Her presence in the office during business hours. What about her appearance led you to assume she was unqualified for corporate environments? Silence stretches painfully. His attorney touches his arm, reminding him he must answer. She was casually dressed. Not what I expected for executive interaction. You expected executive interaction from cleaning staff? No, I thought she was cleaning staff. Based on her race? Objection, his attorney interjects weakly. I'll rephrase, Richard continues. What specifically about Ms. Thompson suggested she was cleaning staff rather than an executive? Marcus realizes every answer destroys him further. The cleaning supplies, the timing. She was helping short-staffed facilities workers. Did you inquire about her role before making assumptions? No. Did you ask her name? No. Did you treat her with basic professional respect? Marcus stares at his hands. No. The deposition continues for 3 hours. Each question exposes another layer of discriminatory thinking. Video evidence contradicts his attempts to minimize his behavior. You told Ms. Thompson that people like her need to know their place, Richard reads from the transcript. What did you mean by people like her? I don't remember saying that. We have video evidence. Would you like to review it? The footage plays again. Marcus watches himself destroy his own career with poisonous words. I was having a bad day. The quarterly numbers were terrible. I wasn't thinking clearly. So, discrimination is acceptable when you're stressed? No, that's not what I meant. What did you mean? Marcus has no answer. His attorney looks defeated. After the deposition, Marcus walks Seattle's streets aimlessly. His reflection in storefront windows shows a broken man, rumpled clothes, hollow eyes, the weight of consequences he never imagined. His phone buzzes with a text from his ex-wife's attorney. Final divorce papers ready for signature. Please confirm forwarding address. Even his children avoid him now, embarrassed by their father's public disgrace. Birthday calls go unanswered. Holiday invitations stop coming. He applies for a job at a chain restaurant, the first employer willing to consider someone with his background. The manager, a young woman named Destiny, reviews his application with skepticism. TechVault Solutions, VP of Operations. Why are you applying for line cook? Career transition, Marcus mumbles. She Googles his name, reads the news articles, watches the viral video of his discriminatory behavior. Her expression hardens. We don't hire people who treat others like trash. Good luck elsewhere. The pattern repeats across Seattle. His reputation precedes him everywhere. Even entry-level positions become inaccessible when employers discover his history. A year and a half after his termination, Marcus sits in a job counselor's office, forced to consider relocating to a different state where his notoriety might fade. Your skills are solid, the counselor admits. But your background makes you unemployable in this market. Have you considered genuine rehabilitation, community service, demonstrable change? Marcus enrolls in diversity training, not from conviction but from desperation. The facilitator, Dr. Jennifer Washington, doesn't coddle participants. Mr. Sterling, you're here because discrimination destroyed your career. But why are you really here? Court mandate, he answers honestly. Wrong answer. You're here because you never learned to see people as individuals rather than categories. Until you understand that, nothing changes. The training forces Marcus to confront truths he spent his life avoiding. His privileges, his prejudices, the pain he caused people who deserved better. I thought I was maintaining standards, he tells the group during a vulnerability exercise. Whose standards? Asks Maria, a Latina executive. And for whom? Marcus begins recognizing the systemic nature of his thinking. How corporate culture enabled his discrimination. How institutional racism shaped his worldview. But recognition doesn't restore his career. Redemption remains elusive when consequences are permanent. 3 years after his termination, Marcus encounters Amara at a Seattle coffee shop. The Marcus Sterling incident becomes a catalyst for transformation across Seattle's tech corridor. Within months, similar stories emerge from other companies. Executives terminated, policies reformed, cultures examined under new scrutiny. Amazon implements mandatory bias training for all management levels. Microsoft establishes anonymous reporting systems with direct board oversight. Google's Seattle office creates employee resource groups with executive sponsorship and real budget authority. The Sterling case changed everything, explains Dr. Sarah Kim, organizational psychologist at University of Washington. It showed that accountability could be swift, decisive, and career-ending. Suddenly, discriminatory behavior carried real consequences. Industry conferences feature new programming. Inclusive leadership in practice becomes a standard track at tech summits. The Sterling video, Amara's experience edited for educational purposes, becomes required viewing in corporate training programs nationwide. Harvard Business School adds the TechVault case to its curriculum. Students analyze the decision trees, the legal implications, the cultural transformation that followed. Traditional approach would be sensitivity training and policy updates, Professor Janet Richardson tells her class. But authentic change requires systemic overhaul and zero-tolerance enforcement. TechVault Solutions emerges as the gold standard for inclusive corporate culture. Employee retention reaches industry best levels. Innovation metrics surge as diverse perspectives strengthen product development. We're not perfect, Amara tells a Harvard Business Review interviewer, but we're intentional. Every hiring decision, every promotion, every policy reflects our commitment to authentic inclusion. The company's diversity statistics tell the story. Minority representation in leadership roles increased 300% within 2 years. Employee satisfaction scores consistently rank top 5 industry-wide. Customer loyalty strengthens as values alignment drives purchasing decisions. Other CEOs seek Amara's guidance. She establishes the Thompson Institute for Workplace Equity, offering consulting services and leadership development programs. Change requires courage, she tells executives at the Institute's inaugural conference. Comfort zones protect mediocrity. Excellence demands inclusive perspectives. The legal precedent strengthens employment protections. The EEOC cites Thompson v. Sterling in subsequent discrimination cases. Corporate liability for executive misconduct becomes clearly established. Law firms develop new specializations around workplace equity litigation. Employment attorneys report increased demand for discrimination prevention rather than damage control. Companies realize prevention costs less than litigation, explains attorney David Park. One Marcus Sterling can destroy decades of reputation building. Professional associations update ethical standards. The Society for Human Resource Management establishes new certification requirements, emphasizing bias recognition and inclusive leadership. Tech industry recruiting evolves. Headhunters screen for inclusion track records. Reference checks include questions about respectful behavior and cultural fit with diverse teams. We can't afford another Sterling situation, explains executive recruiter Lisa Chang. One discriminatory hire can poison entire organizations. Academic research expands around workplace discrimination and its economic impact. Studies show that inclusive companies outperform homogeneous competitors across multiple metrics: innovation, retention, customer satisfaction, financial performance. Dr. Maria Rodriguez publishes groundbreaking research on the Sterling effect, how visible accountability for discrimination creates positive cultural change throughout entire industries. Fear of consequences initially drives compliance, her study concludes. But sustained practice develops authentic appreciation for diverse perspectives and inclusive leadership. Social media amplifies the accountability message. LinkedIn posts about workplace equity receive unprecedented engagement. Twitter threads dissecting discriminatory behavior go viral regularly. Young professionals entering the workforce carry higher expectations. They research company cultures before accepting offers. Glassdoor reviews increasingly focus on inclusion and respect rather than just compensation. Gen Z won't tolerate what previous generations accepted, notes workplace culture consultant James Wilson. They view inclusion as a minimum standard, not an aspirational goal. Government agencies strengthen enforcement mechanisms. EEOC investigations become more thorough, penalties more severe. Congressional hearings examine corporate accountability for discriminatory cultures. Policymakers reference the Sterling case when proposing new legislation around workplace equity and corporate responsibility. The transformation extends beyond Seattle. Tech hubs in Austin, Denver, and Raleigh implement similar accountability measures. The Sterling standard spreads across industries: finance, healthcare, manufacturing, entertainment. No one wants to be the next Marcus Sterling, observes corporate culture researcher Dr. Angela Thompson. Public humiliation and career destruction create powerful deterrents. 3 years later, workplace discrimination incidents in Seattle tech companies decline by 70%. Anonymous reporting increases as employees trust that concerns will be addressed seriously. Exit interviews reveal changing dynamics. Employees leave for better opportunities rather than fleeing toxic cultures. Retention rates improve across demographic groups. As industry transformation accelerates, Amara reflects on how one moment of injustice reshaped corporate America. 5 years later, Amara Thompson stands in the same corner office where Marcus Sterling revealed his character. Sunlight streams through spotless windows, illuminating awards for workplace excellence lining the walls. The space feels transformed, not just renovated, but spiritually renewed. TechVault Solutions now employs 18,000 people across 4 continents. The company's commitment to inclusion drives innovation, attracts top talent, and strengthens client relationships worldwide. She picks up a framed photograph from her desk, the first graduating class of the Thompson Institute for Workplace Equity. 50 executives from diverse industries, armed with tools to build inclusive cultures in their own organizations. "We're not teaching sensitivity," she told that inaugural class. "We're teaching strategic thinking. Inclusion isn't kindness, it's competitive advantage." Her reflection catches in the window glass. 5 years of intentional leadership have deepened her understanding of power's responsibility. Building a company wasn't enough. Sustaining inclusive culture requires constant vigilance and authentic commitment. The morning brings familiar rhythms. Amara walks the floors regularly now, engaging employees at every level. No more surprise inspections, just consistent presence and genuine connection. In the facility's break room, she finds Miguel Torres reviewing schedules with his expanded team. His promotion to Director of Operations came with significant budget authority and direct board reporting. "Morning, Miguel. How's the team?" "Growing strong," he smiles. 3 new supervisors this quarter, all promoted from within, and the employee satisfaction scores. "Best in company history," Amara finishes. "You've built something special here." We all did. After Sterling, people felt safe to contribute ideas, report problems, suggest improvements. Turns out folks had plenty to say when they knew someone would listen. Marcus Sterling's name rarely surfaces in conversation now. His behavior serves as historical cautionary tale rather than present concern. The company moved beyond his toxicity to become something he could never have imagined. Amara continues her walk, stopping in the engineering pod where Priya Patel leads a team of 12 developers on the company's flagship AI project. 3 years ago, Marcus blocked her promotion, claiming clients weren't ready for diverse leadership. "Amara!" Priya waves from her glass-walled office. "Perfect timing. Want to see the quarterly innovation metrics?" The numbers tell stories of transformation. Employee-generated patents increased 400%. Cross-functional collaboration strengthened. Customer satisfaction reached industry-leading levels. "Inclusion works," Priya explains. "Different perspectives solve problems homogeneous teams miss. Marcus was wrong about everything. Diverse leadership isn't a risk, it's a requirement." The afternoon brings Amara's monthly call with Harvard Business School, where the TechVault case study continues evolving. Professor Richardson provides updates on student analyses and corporate applications. "Your decision to let the situation unfold rather than intervene immediately remains controversial," Richardson notes. "Some students argue you should have stopped it sooner." "Maybe," Amara acknowledges, "but stopping individual incidents doesn't address systemic problems. I needed to understand the full scope of our cultural failure before implementing comprehensive solutions." The strategy proved effective. Marcus's behavior exposed institutional weaknesses that superficial fixes couldn't address. His termination became the catalyst for transformational change rather than cosmetic adjustment. Evening finds Amara in her penthouse apartment, reviewing applications for the Thompson Foundation's scholarship program. 200 minority students will receive full funding for STEM education, continuing her commitment to building inclusive pipelines. Her phone displays a news alert. Marcus Sterling files personal bankruptcy. The brief article details his financial collapse, career destruction, and ongoing legal obligations. She feels no satisfaction in his downfall. His behavior was poisonous, his termination necessary, but his human suffering brings no joy. Justice required accountability, not cruelty. Some stories end with villains receiving comeuppance. Better stories end with systems improving, so future villains find no fertile ground for their toxicity. Amara closes her laptop and moves to the window overlooking Seattle's glittering skyline. Dozens of companies have implemented inclusive leadership programs inspired by TechVault's transformation. Hundreds of executives received bias training. Thousands of employees work in more respectful environments. One moment of injustice became a catalyst for industry-wide change. Marcus Sterling's discrimination revealed uncomfortable truths about corporate culture that demanded confrontation. The real victory wasn't his termination. It was the culture that emerged from the ashes of his behavior. A culture where Miguel Torres leads with authority, earned through competence. Where Priya Patel innovates without artificial barriers, where every employee contributes their authentic talents without fear of discrimination. Change requires courage, but courage creates momentum. Individual actions inspire systemic transformation. Personal accountability drives institutional improvement. Marcus Sterling thought he was maintaining standards. Instead, he revealed how low those standards had fallen. His downfall elevated everyone else. Your character is revealed not in moments of comfort, but in how you treat those you perceive as powerless. True leadership means using your influence to lift others up, not tear them down. Word count: 638, 640. CTA and T's. The story of Amara Thompson and Marcus Sterling resonates far beyond TechVault Solutions. It speaks to anyone who's faced discrimination, witnessed injustice, or wondered whether accountability truly exists in corporate America. CTA. Should companies have zero tolerance for racism? Let me know where you're watching from. This isn't just entertainment, it's education. Every workplace contains both Amara's and Marcus Sterling's. The difference lies in which behaviors receive reward and which face consequences. Drop A in the comments if you believe in standing up to workplace discrimination. Share this story with someone who needs to see that justice, though sometimes delayed, can be decisive and transformational. Your voice matters in this conversation. Have you witnessed discrimination in your workplace? Share your experiences below. Tell us about leaders who demonstrated real inclusive leadership or executives who revealed their true character under pressure. Tag a boss who demonstrates authentic respect for all employees. Ring that notification bell to never miss stories of justice and empowerment. Hit subscribe if you believe accountability should have real consequences. This story proves that power reveals character, but character ultimately determines destiny. Marcus Sterling thought his position protected his prejudices. Instead, his prejudices destroyed his position. Amara Thompson could have hidden behind her title, avoided difficult confrontations, maintained comfortable distance from operational reality. Instead, she chose presence, accountability, and transformational leadership. The ripple effects continue spreading. Every company that implements inclusive policies, every executive who chooses respect over dominance, every employee who reports discrimination rather than enduring it, they all contribute to systemic change. But change requires vigilance. Progress demands participation. Justice needs voices willing to speak truth to power. Share this video across your social media platforms with #workplacejustice, #inclusive leadership, #accountability matters. Let's build communities committed to dignity, respect, and equal opportunity. Your engagement helps these stories reach people who need inspiration, hope, and evidence that toxic behavior carries real consequences. Together, we create workplaces where everyone thrives regardless of race, gender, background, or appearance. Coming up next, homeless veteran saves CEO's daughter, gets rewarded with million-dollar company. A story of sacrifice, recognition, and life-changing gratitude that will restore your faith in human decency. A decorated Marine, dismissed by society, faces a moment that tests everything he believes about honor and service. When a kidnapping unfolds before his eyes, he must choose between safety and sacrifice. The CEO whose daughter he saves doesn't offer thanks. She offers transformation. But can someone who lost everything truly accept the gift of a new beginning? It's a story about second chances, hidden valor, and the moment when doing right leads to rewards beyond imagination. You won't believe how this veteran's courage changes not just his life, but an entire corporate empire. Don't miss this incredible journey from desperation to redemption. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell so you're first to witness this amazing transformation. If this story of Amara and Marcus moved you, please share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Your support helps us reach more people with these important stories of justice, accountability, and positive change. Remember, every interaction reveals character. Every choice shapes culture. Every voice can demand better. Together, we create workplaces where respect isn't negotiable, inclusion isn't optional, and discrimination has nowhere to hide. Keep fighting the good fight. Never let anyone diminish your worth. And always remember, true leaders lift others up. I'll see you in the next story, where justice once again finds a way to prevail. Stay strong, stay hopeful, stay engaged. Justice always wins in the end.